much for being here. It's really exciting. I'm actually really excited that you're all here for the screening of Decolonized Chocolate and our beautiful panel discussion afterwards about the future of fair chocolate. This event is held in English because we have some international guests today. And yeah, I'm very glad that I see Yaira already here, who will be talking to us later on after the screening. And he's the founder of the very first organic cocoa initiative in Ghana. And yeah, so many people are here already. I'm really glad to see you all. I'd like to talk about recent events. I think we cannot turn a blind eye to the recent events of Black Lives Matter when talking about yeah, fair chocolate and chocolate production nowadays. You've probably followed recent news events, and that Black Lives Matter, the protests are back on, and I'm so glad that many people are becoming again more and more sensitized to racism issues, also in Switzerland and Germany, not only in the States. And when talking about chocolate production, we must also talk about racism and colonialism, because chocolate production is deeply rooted in colonialism today. And some of you might know that 70% of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa, from Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. But well, when you go to your local supermarket, chances are like 100% that all the chocolate that you'll find there, yeah, is produced in the global north. And yeah, when we look at the images in the chocolate universe, when you look at the wrappers that you see, the advertisements, the media, you'll often see romanticized images, mostly of like white kids, white milkmaids, happy faces of African farmers, people balancing cocoa pods on their heads. And I also want to sensitize you guys that Blackness is still also very much objectified and romanticized in the marketing of chocolate, and also the production of chocolate, and also the labor is being yeah, objectified as well. And one of the big goals and the mission of Fair Afrique is to make people understand that those neo-colonial trade structures still are live and real today, and Fair Afrique is trying to disrupt, or actually is changing the game of the chocolate industry right now in this very moment. And I'm really super proud to be part of this great team in Ghana as well as in Germany. And because right now Fair Afrique Ghana is building the very first chocolate production site in Suhum. That's a rural area in Ghana where the cocoa grows as well. And yeah, this is how we're actually disrupting those colonial structures by adding more value to the products made in Ghana.
I'm Yaira Glover. I've been living in Switzerland for some years now, and I got back to Ghana to start the production of organic cocoa. That was the first initiative in Ghana to produce and export beans, with the idea of actually processing the beans in the future. So it's a laudable idea that Fair Africa has come to collaborate with us to really decolonize the production of cocoa. So we are grateful, and I'm happy we have these discussions here today.
My name is Gabriel Saki, as you've already said, and I happen to be the plant manager for Fair Afrique. Actually, my responsibility now cuts across all areas, because being the plant manager, you know, you have to work in all areas to make sure we accomplish the tasks given to us. So that's basically my duty now.
Hi, I'm Karen. I am currently the graphic designer with the Fair Afrique Ghana team. I'm responsible for all the design on the new patterns on the wrappers for the chocolates. So that's basically what I do.
Great, amazing. I'd like to start off to give everyone around here the idea of how does your daily business look like. Maybe you want to start, Karen, to tell me like when you get up in the morning, how does a typical day as a graphic designer in Ghana look like?
Okay, thank you. I think every day for me is different, and depending on the project I'm working on, because I'm working on different projects. I do design, I do craft, and I do packaging. So depending on what I'm working on, I usually work from home. So when I wake up in the morning, I get ready, and then if I have to, I respond to my emails, and then I take work from there. So if I have to work on design, I sit by my desk, and then I continue through till I'm done. Or I sometimes take a break. But if I'm working on other projects, sometimes I have to be in town to get supplies for work. And on days that I'm not working at home, I'm in town following up on production at the printers. That's basically what I do in my daily life as a graphic designer.
Great. And how did you come up with the patterns for the Fair Frick chocolate?
Right. So I took a lot of inspiration from the internet, and then what we have, the shapes, and then products that we have around. So for some of the patterns, for the 1957 special edition, we all know that Ghana is, I mean, when you talk about Ghana, you have the colors of the flag, which is the red, yellow, green, and then the black star. So I incorporated all those things into that particular design, so that when you see the chocolate, you see it, and then you know that this is a representation of Ghana. For the other patterns, like I said, I took the products and I used abstract images, abstract shapes to represent them on the patterns.
Cool. Thank you, Karen. I'd like to pass it on to Gabriel Saki. Could you tell us a bit about how your daily life looks like right now and what exciting work is going on in Suhum at the moment?
Well, I might say that it's been very busy all day for me because I can say that I eat, drink, sleep, wake up, fair Afrique because we can't wait to see the plant running, and because I have a huge task as a plant manager to make sure we work according to schedule. So when I get up in the morning, I have to be with the family just a few minutes and have to rush down to Suhum. I spend about 1.5 hours just to get to Suhum, and there I need to have a meeting with all the contractors on site and what they've done and what they plan doing, whether we're on schedule and all that. So I must say that it's all about Fair Afrique, actually. It's all about Fair Afrique.
Gabby, for everyone here who has really no idea what the stage of construction is now, some people have maybe just seen the last images of the documentary when Yara and Hendrik are dreaming about, oh, what could be happening there. Could you just give us a short update of what is going on in Suhum?
Yes, I think from the last documentary that you've seen, that as you said, there has been mass improvement, I must say, because currently we've done the fence wall, which is completed. We have all the three contractors on site with their offices, whatever, and all their staff. Fair Afrique as a company also, we also have an office station on the site, so that we always have to go there from Monday to Saturday just to make sure people are doing what is supposed of them. So for now, I must say that we've put up the column for the structures because the building is a prefabricated one, of course. So last week we took delivery of 2 containers for the steel beams. And I must say that now the columns are ready, almost ready for them to start mounting the steel beams whilst we wait for the other stuff to come in. So work has really moved progressively, steadily, I must tell you. We've done a lot of work there. The place has improved massively. when you see the place, you might not even recognize this is the place we started with. And I might say things are moving on well.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
And could you also give us some insight about your background? Like, what have you done before Fair Freak?
If I have to go through this, I don't think we'll finish with this documentary because, you know, after school, I joined a textile company where we are into textiles, and then from there, I moved to Athena Foods, where we produce pineapple concentrate. We ship to Germany, and then from there, I moved to Nestle Ghana. No, I spent about five years in Nestle Ghana, and then from there, I moved to Cargill, and then from Cargill, I moved to Niche Cocoa. And then from Niche Cocoa, I moved to, so I'm hopping from one company to, and I like working with a food processing company because I feel good and I feel happy about it. So if you look at the companies I've been with, they are all food processing companies. And finally, I've come to stay with Fair Africa, and I'm sure this is going to be my last stop till I go on retirement.
That's our biggest wish, Gabby, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And what is like the main responsibility of a plant manager, like when the factory is running?
Yes, and like I said before, my role, my responsibility cuts across all the departments. But specifically, I have to see to it that the plant availability is always there for us to get our targets. But besides that, when it comes to the other department, the lab, the production, the utility, all the areas, my responsibility cuts across. I have an oversight responsibility of the other departments also.
Cool. Thanks a lot for that, Gabby.
You're welcome.
I'm passing the mic, the digital mic, to Yaira. Could you tell us a bit about your work at the moment, what you're up to and what you're doing?
Yes, actually, we poise are making sure that we really have the best cocoa produce for the Fair Afri chocolate. So what we're doing right now is that we try to reorganize the structures, the systems that we have, so that the farmers will produce up to the highest standards, so that we can actually prove to the world that from here in Suhum, we can really stand up to the challenge. Normally when I get up in the morning, my morning starts very early, around 3 o'clock, I'm already up, read through what I had to be doing because it gets very hot when it's getting to 10 o'clock. So I put down notes and then call my field officers and then get them, ready for the field because farmers really go to the farm very early in the morning. Once they get to the farm around 6, 7, then I will be preparing for Cocoa Board for discussions pertaining to tailoring measures to prevent the situation where our cocoa must be shipped in time or must be given to Fair African time. Currently, cocoa is no more in season. We are not in high season. We've just started the lean crop season. Doing that in organic is that we're trying to build a factory that will process the other produce from farmers like bananas and spices so that the farmers will have all year round income. Fair Africa actually gave 1,000 seedlings to farmers, coconut seedlings. And in the future, we have to process that also so that farmers will have income. So we are seriously currently building that factory so that as soon as the Fair Africa factory is operating, we can also really start buying all other spices from farmers. And this will make them really get hold of the system and get stuck to the organic systems that we are introducing. So that with the premium, the cocoa premium, they can also have other ingredients sold for premium. So that's what I'm doing currently.
Cool, thank you, Yara. Could you also tell us a bit about the challenges of organic cocoa production?
Yeah, we actually had serious challenges in the beginning, but I think we've been doing that for the past 12 years. And farmers are now really understanding that organic production is a way of life. You know, it's about their social, environmental, and economic well-being. With time, they have come to realize that using dangerous chemicals actually destroys the value chain because right on the same organic farms, they have their vegetables, they have their oranges, their fruits, and all other things. They have their snails, you know, that they actually consume. That is a delicacy. So they've come to realize that by using dangerous chemicals, you know, herbicides, they actually destroy flora and fauna, and their livelihood is actually being brought to danger. So we actually training them now, and they are coping with the situation now. So these challenges are over. Now we had challenges pertaining to policy. You know, the Ghana cocoa cluster is a very special one. I came from nowhere. I came from Switzerland. All of a sudden, telling cocoa board we have to produce organic cocoa. That was not very easy. But I think with time, they all understanding that that is a future and that is the only way, but that is a road to tread on. So everybody is now accepting it. So these challenges are actually also going off slowly. We had challenges pertaining to trade capital. This we have also found, you know, we found money now to buy cocoa because we were not able in the past to buy all the beans from the farmers. Because of that, the farmers were now really seeing the impact that we were preaching to them that could be brought by organic cocoa production. But now that we have money to buy the beans and Fair Africa is ready to pick the beans for processing in Ghana and producing chocolate in Ghana, the impact is being felt now. In fact, we've just received premiums from Fair Africa, and in the coming weeks, we're going to put all the farmers together to give them these premiums. So the challenges where farmers were now bringing the beans to us is now over because we pay, you know, Fair Africa is paying $600 more per bag of cocoa, per ton of cocoa. And that is really, really above the fair trade premium. And we respect that so much, and this has taken off all the bigger challenges with us. We have other challenges, but they are not really paramount.
Very well said, Yara. The topic of our current discussion is the future of fair chocolate, and you've just mentioned fair trade. So I think all of us here at Fair Freak, and also you, Yara, we are all working towards like a fair trade, a truly fair trade at eye level. And I would like to ask you, how do you envision the future of fair chocolate, and what is fair to you if it's not fair trade?
Well, for me, fair, you know, fair is, to be fair, that's an adjective, and it's very relative. But when we talk of fair trade, then it's something else. I mean, in the normal sense, it means that respecting actually the trade, so the trade relationship between companies in the north and also producers in the south, you know, treating them in a fair way. But I think we missed some steps over there because my experience for the past 12 years actually painted a clear picture to me that for me, fair trade is what we are doing now. We try to decolonize the chocolate, you know. Yeah, we try to decolonize that, and we also try to respect the environment. You know, we protect also people in the value chain, not only farmers, but actually we think that in a value chain, especially cocoa that we want to talk about over here, it's not only farmers that are important. You have some people working in the offices. I have young people, you know, on motorbikes going around to teach farmers. All these people must be treated well. We also have the situation where we see in other fair trade organizations around here, people use dangerous chemicals. The question is, Who controls whether the water bodies are not being contaminated? Is it fair to actually contaminate water bodies for, go build boreholes for young people who fetch these waters to drink just in the raw state? So with our organic system, we think that we have brought fair trade a different understanding and meaning. We slapped on fair trade. That first we think of human beings, we think of the environment, and then we really think of the social situation. We prevent people from, we prevent child labor. And for me, child labor is actually labor that is detrimental to the health of a child. Labor that prevents a child from going to school, but it's not labor that actually makes the child learn what the parents are doing, learn from what the parents are doing. Children can actually go with their parents to the farm to understudy them.
Thanks, Zaira. And now I'm also interested in the other opinions. Gabby, could you tell us a bit about what you think, what the future of fair chocolate could be, and what the word fair means to you in your work environment?
Well, I think Yaira has said it all, but let me add a few to it. Um, I think for some time, we're not being fair to the farmers because when you look at how cocoa is grown, it takes a lot of time, it takes years. People invest their money, their time, their effort, and when the beans are ready, we we buy them so cheap, and that is so bad for, and because of that they are not able to send their children to school. They are not able to take good care of themselves and all that. But I think with fairness, or with Fair Africa, we are trying to improve the social status of the farmers. That will go a long way to support their children so that they can have good health care, good education facility and all that. So I think with Fair Africa coming in, is going to change a lot of mindsets actually. Because I'm saying this because we want to do something different from what others are doing. Because I remember somebody came to site at Suhum and asked me, why are you building in a rural area like this? And I said, what is the problem with that? He said, no, everybody is in the city. We city, you have good electricity, good water, you have professionals working over there. I said, no, this thing has to change. It's not a good mindset. So we want to be different from others. That is why we moved closer to the farmers so that at least they will have a sense of belonging, that they are also part of, or they are processing something that a company can produce. And out of that, we can get chocolate and, all that. So I think it's a good thing Fair has coming on time. I think this is a timely thing, if I can put it. Fair Free have come in a timely manner, and I'm sure it's going to change a lot of mindsets. So now everybody is looking at Fair Africa, what is going to happen, whether we are really going to make it because we are in the rural area when it comes to water, electricity, getting professionals moving from the city to that place. Is it going to be feasible? So I'm sure we are going to prove to the world that we are capable and we are able to do that. And I'm sure when it starts, a lot of people will also like to come closer to. So I think that's my opinion, and I think there's a brighter future for Ghana and Fair Africa also.
Great, Gabby. And can you also tell us a bit more like about that ripple effect that is coming on once you build a factory in a rural area, like regarding infrastructure, regarding other companies maybe being attracted to the area? What does it mean to the farmers and families living there? Could you give us some insight on that?
Yes, I think what we are doing now, I'm sure the whole world is watching to see whether we will be able to succeed. And I think currently where we are now and what we are doing, people are really appreciating, because most of the people comes on site to just to come and do site visiting, just to ask questions. How did you do it? How were you able to get electricity? How were you able to get water? What are some of the challenges we are going through? And when we present it to them, they see it as something that can really be overcome. You know, the fear is, if I go and site my company in a rural area, in the forest region, how am I going to succeed? Am I able to, impact on the people over there? But right now that Fair Africa is doing this, I'm sure a lot of people are watching and they will take a clue from that. And I'm sure a lot of people will come, because that area is going to be an agro-processing, like a free zone area for companies. So we are the first actually to be there. So I'm sure if everything goes well, I'm sure others would like also to come and join. And I think the establishment at that area is giving opportunity for those rural folks around to get some kind of job opportunity for them. It's going to increase their income, and then it's also going to improve their lifestyle in terms of health and education wise.
Edu is asking, quote, your organization seems to have just one German guy in Africa. He seems to me as the main key of the whole project. Have you considered this as a potential risk for going further ahead? I mean, certainly seems like a dependency from him. How can you overcome this dependency for the sake of the whole project? Or am I wrong and you have more people based in Ghana? I think it's time for you to introduce what Fair Free Ghana is.
Fair Africa, our goal is to build and commission a solar power molding chocolate factory in Ghana this year, 2020. And in this production facility, we want to produce as much chocolate as demanded on the European market and some locally. So I don't foresee any danger, because this is Africa and we are owning the project actually. So we are going to handle it African way, it's going to be all Africa.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to understand that it's not Fairfrick Germany traveling to Suhum, Ghana and doing their thing there, but there is actually our daughter company, Fairfrick Ghana, who's doing their own thing and actually making it happen.
Yeah.
And Hendrik is the founder of Fairfrick Germany, and he had the first idea of doing this and bringing chocolate made in Ghana to Germany.
Exactly.
But now the whole thing has become much, much bigger. And I'm very, very happy that so many talented, great people are on our team as well, in Germany as well as in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Great. Karen, are you still with us? I would also be really interested in your take on what fair actually means in your industry and what your vision of fair chocolate would be.
Right. Unfortunately, in the creative design industry, a lot of our work, which is design, is not very much appreciated, because there's this notion that design is easy and you can just take 2 minutes, 3 minutes to do a design, but which isn't true, because there's a process that you have to go through. There's a creative process, there's research, there's you have to go through the process where you have to do your drawings and everything before you even move to the computer to finally do your final designs. So you could do a really good design and you would charge, you give your charge, and the client would wonder why the charge is so high, because they don't see the effort that you put into the design. The creative process is quite a long one, and there's a lot that goes into it. But unfortunately, in Ghana, most people do not understand that. And hopefully, as time goes on in the future, I'm looking for a future where design or art in general will be appreciated more. And the future of fair chocolate, I think that just like Yaira and Gabby said, most of the younger generation don't understand taking farming as a profession. And I think that if the younger generation takes some more interest in taking farming as a profession, it would go a long way to make things better. And we also need a creation of awareness on the benefits of fair trade and how the farmers can help sustain their lives and then ultimately improve their way of living as well as their lives. So that's what I think. I mean, they've said a lot and they said, I mean, everything. So I think that, yeah, it's looking bright. The future is looking very bright, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Thanks, Karen. And how do you see the value creation in Ghana in your industry? Like, do you also work for companies that are exporting the product, or is it everything that you're working on local?
Yes, I don't only do, so like I mentioned earlier, I do packaging as well. And so mainly I do labeling, so product labels, and some of my clients they export into other countries. And I recently worked on some coconut labels and some spice labels as well. I believe that a label in itself, it's a silent salesman. So if you have a good label, you have a good product and you have a good label, it's really all you need. I mean, with a couple of other skills, yes. But usually when your product is on the shelf, it's the label that will attract a customer to buy it. And if you have a good label, I mean, if you have a lot of products on the shelf and your label stands out, obviously it attracts the customer who's seeing it to buy it. And sometimes, I mean, one huge problem that we have in Ghana in the packaging industry is we have bad packaging. We might have like really good products, but we have bad packaging. And I always tell my clients that, I mean, if you have a good product, let it show on the label or the package, and that's all that you need to do.
I would like to open the discussion for all our viewers. We've already received a couple of questions, and I'd just like to read them to you. Some of them have already been answered in the chat, but some of them haven't. And whoever of you, either Karen, Gabby, or Yara, who feels like they can answer the question, just feel free to pop in. Heidrun asked, did the construction of the new factory already start? I think we answered that already, right? We're in the middle
Yes.
of it. Gabby, you want to add something?
Like I said, we are moving progressively despite the challenges of encountering of rains. Because now, you know, in the forest zone, these seasons, we have rain coming up. But in spite of that, we are still on the rain working because most of the work really is not being affected by the rain. So, you know, we are pushing on, and I think we are moving steadily. We are on time, on schedule.
And do you feel any inhibitions by the current corona situation in Suhum?
It has not really affected. We are just respecting the rules and the principles we need to follow, and we are moving on steadily because we have an on-site training. We have people who check always to make sure we are in the right PPEs. You are washing your hands very often. You know, you are apart. You know, keeping the distances, just respecting the rule, and we are okay.
Then there's another question by Sebastian. This is amazing. I'm wondering, is there a concept to keep and further distribute the knowledge and experience you have gained? I'm thinking of the chocolate school. Gabby, can you say something about that?
Yes, I think that is one of our main agenda for the whole project because we are looking at also training some of the young ones to how to do handmade chocolates. At least it's just to improve their lives and their livelihood, and because sometimes they don't have much to do, and some are not going to school and all that. So at least we are gathering those few and those who have had some knowledge or have attained some status in education, and then we groom them, teach them how to make handmade chocolates, which of course we are going to sell on their behalf so that at least they might earn an income and change their livelihood. So it's something that we are coming out strongly. to do.
Amazing. And it's going to be the very first formal Ghanaian chocolate school ever. This is really history in the making. I'm so proud of you guys.
And we're also proud to be part of it.
Have you any insights about the sewage and energy issues at the moment?
With the energy, for now, we are closely working with ECG, Electricity Corporation of Ghana, to get us on the national grid. But whilst we are doing that, we've bought a generator we are using on site currently, just to speed up the progress of work on site so that we will not be delayed. So we are working closely with ECG, and very soon we will get get hooked to the national grid. So we don't have any problem with that also. Also with the water, we don't have issue with, because we have a borehole which we are using currently for the construction work. And it's unfortunate I didn't bring it's clean, it's very clear, pure water. And you marvel when you see it. The first time I saw it, I drank it, and it looks good. You don't have salt in it, you don't have anything in it. It's pure water, colorless. So that's what we are using now. But in future, we are going into reverse osmosis, just to treat the water a bit, then we can use it. But for now, for the construction purposes, we are using just the borehole water.
Yeah, that's a very important point, the reverse osmosis concept. So there will be no sewage water released into the community at all. And also there will be a solar powered system for the factory once the factory is completed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now there's a very interesting question. I'd like to invite all of you to discuss this. Edu says, still less than €1 per chocolate bar remains in Africa. What are the barriers for increasing that number? Maybe Yaira has some insight on that or some opinion on that?
Actually, the barriers have been known, and they are being removed by Fair Africa with this initiative. I mean, the moment we start having this chocolate made in Ghana means that we create, by adding value, you pay more for a bar of chocolate, in Europe. So we actually have part of the money staying here. So we can say that we have removed the barrier by creating that job in a rural area. With Fair Africa, we have talked of creating a ripple effect. You see, it's not just chocolate selling per se, but then the additional jobs that you create in Europe by just taking beans to Europe makes more value to be added to many other things in Europe. So I think the barrier is removed by Fair Africa's initiative. So we will earn more here.
And apart from Fair Afrique chocolate, I think there's also like a movement going on, like West Africa introducing the living income differential, that farmers would gain more money. Can you also say something about that?
So the living income differential is actually to increase the farm gate price for farmers. It gives them some premium. But we, with Fair Africa, we are really giving more than that. It means that money will be paid on conventional cocoa as it is, plus the premiums that will be given by Fair Africa. But I think that is also in a good direction, so that farmers could earn more.
Are the cocoa farms working with agroforestry? This could also offer them other income options. Yaira, could you speak a bit about other income options for farmers?
Yes, in actual fact, we have actually preached against deforestation. Before we started the project, I realized that trees were being indiscriminately felled. They were felling trees, and we have actually taken measures against that. So what farmers are doing now is that they have useful trees on their farms. These are timber that could be harvested in some years to come. We want them to plant herbs that could be used for spices and coconuts for off-season harvesting and many other things. Snails are really growing on their farms now because they don't use dangerous chemicals, you know, so that the agroforestry system will be kept intact. So this is what we are doing, and we create alternative livelihood jobs for farmer ladies, you know. Farmer families have their wives at home, and we're trying to get a situation where they can go into soap manufacturing. And I was visiting some soap factories in the forest with Fair Afrique, and we really would want to encourage that because they use the cocoa pods. You know, we really would want to close the cycle. When you get the cocoa pods, you can actually process them into soaps and all this stuff, so that they will leave the farms intact, the trees on the farm intact. So these are measures that we are taking.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
That was actually a group of farmers who had the idea of turning the cocoa pods into soap, right? They just built up their own business.
Yes, and that is the idea of fairness. To be fair, and that is exactly what Fair Afrique stands for. It's not just the production of cocoa per se, but cocoa production must lead to the creation of auxiliary businesses. You know, farmers are not just going to concentrate on cocoa, or people in the community are not all going to be farmers, because not everybody wants to be a farmer, you know. And we make sure that through fair, you know, our extra fair production of cocoa, other related jobs are created. Some people are now mechanics who actually go around pruning the organic cocoa farms. And some people are into driving, you know, they drive the trucks to pick cocoa from the forest. And all these women who could actually not, you know, go to the farms will also be working in the fabric, you know, in the factory where we produce these spices. And some could also work with Fair Afrique. You see, so it's a new era and a new economic system. It's a kind of integrated agro-industrial system that we're creating here in Seoul, with this factory coming in here, curbing rural-urban migration and keeping young people in the rural areas. I mean, the fact is that when they have no jobs in the rural areas, they move to Accra. And in Accra, where they find no jobs, they manage to cross the Mediterranean to Europe. And there you have, you know, a lot of them seeking they become economic asylum seekers, you know. So we actually trying to have programs to empower ladies and empower young people to see agriculture as business. So our kind of fair trade that we practicing with Fair Afrique is that we make sure that everybody in the value chain sees that farming is not just for the elderly or the poor or those who are not educated, but it cuts across. In fact, our women, I must say that are very hardworking. So I think Africa is actually working because our women are really hardworking. They always try to, you know, get their bananas to the market. They get their pineapples to the market and their oranges. But the challenge is that all these things are just brought from the market straight in the raw state, you know, brought from the farm straight in a raw state to the market. I call it chance market. You know, they go in the morning, and once they're not able to sell these things, they throw them away. So the new idea with this Fair Afrique fabric coming to Suhum is that around this fabric, around this factory, we're really going to have other industries springing up, so we can process the produce, the fresh produce that farmers actually bring in. That is what we're going to do here. And this will help a lot of women who actually were in the past exposed to bringing their foodstuffs or their produce to the chance market and having at the end of the day not selling them, to really have direct markets here in our yard.
I was also thinking about childcare. Do you know if there's anything planned? the
Is
area?
there, in actual fact, where Fair Africa factory is, this is, we call it integrated agro-industrial zone. We're going to have daycare centers, you know, which is going to be built so that young women, mostly who actually have no husbands, could actually send their children to these schools and then go to the factories around here to work, including Fair Africa. So all these concepts are being developed. And as soon as the factory takes off, these things will also be in place.
Great. There's another question for you, Yara. Maria asks, when is the main harvest season of cocoa in Ghana, or can you harvest all year long?
Well, we have the main crop season and then we have the light crop season. Right now we're in the light crop season. The main crop starts from in September, October, November, December, and then now we're in the light crop season. So you can harvest all year round, but the quality, the best quality is actually from the main crop season. But what we do here is that for us to make sure that our farmers earn income all year round, Fair Africa actually buys the light crop cocoa, we sieve it, you know, to size so that we can really get the high quality that we want. So in addition to that, Fair Africa has actually given coconut seedlings to farmers so that during this time that they cannot earn that much, they can earn money from selling coconuts to the local processing plants for oil and for many other things. That is where women are also going to be seriously engaged for oil production.
Great. Now there's a question for Karen and Gabby, but maybe Karen, because you're the youngest, you could maybe say something about it. Are young Ghanaians interested in studying agronomy and food processing? Do you know anyone studying this?
Personally, I don't know anybody in that industry. Like I said earlier on, we need creation of awareness, because most people think farming is for fathers, you know, like farming is for the rural areas, and so most people don't really go into farming to get it, food processing. Recently, we've had like a few people going into food processing, some into juice, pineapples and fruits into fresh juices. And I think for fresh juices, we've had a few people going into that. Other food processing that I know, spices, you know, dry foods. But I don't know a lot of people that are into that. But yeah, I mean, they're coming up. People are getting to know of the benefits, and so they are also willing to take an interest in it. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Karen. Gabby, do you think that the young people are interested in studying agronomy and food processing?
Yes, I think, initially, people have the idea that farming is, like Karen said, is for those in the rural sector. But now I think the mindset is changing, because I know of a farmer who is really making it big here, but you don't see him working hands-on on the farm. You know, he has equipment and all that, hired people to, so I think things are changing now as compared to those days when it's only the aged or those only in the rural areas doing farming. But now I think people are buying into the idea, and it's coming up. So people are now venturing into agriculture now, and I think it's really good. It's a really good thing.
Rebecca asks if Corona might have impacted the lives of cocoa farmers. We've talked about the production staff, but not that yet the farmers. Do you have any insights on that, Yaira?
Yes, in actual fact, normally we have every week meetings with farmers. We could not meet them anymore because there was a ban, we could not really meet. But then they've lifted the ban in a way, so we have started meeting them now. But all these while, like Gabby was saying in the beginning, we were in the rural areas doing our thing. But then the state said that not more than 25 people should be gathered anywhere. So we have respected that, and we've been talking to the farmers on phone. So we continue working. Now we have started meeting them again. So the corona has actually, we don't see that impact here in Africa. In fact, what I have really seen happening in the developed world, in Italy and everywhere, we have, I must say, we are fortunate not to experience it that way. So we keep on doing it's what we're supposed to be doing. I think we're all healthy here, and the farmers that I have met recently, everybody is fine. They still go. Maybe it's got to do with being in the forest or what, I don't know. But we are here in the forest area, serene environment. The environment is clean, everything is neat, and we take natural food, we take organic vegetables and organic fruits. So the farmers are still healthy. I'm happy they are, I've not heard of any cases over here. So it's not affected our production at all.
That's very good to hear. Really quick, in a few sentences, Yaira, there's another question about how is the impact of climate change on cocoa this year? Do you have any insights really quick?
Yes, farmers who don't practice organic system of farming actually feel that seriously. But our farmers actually are having their farms intact because they use no dangerous chemicals. Flora and fauna is intact. So climate change is not having that impact on the organic systems, but on the conventional systems, they have challenges. Our yields are now reducing.
Yeah, amazing. I think also the documentary already showed that the organic plants are much more resilient compared to the conventional ones.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next one, that's one for Gabby. Is the management team happy to leave the city and move to Suhum? Or are you moving to Suhum?
Well, we have plans. We have plans because it will be tiresome to be moving every day in and out, the traffic and all that. And we need to be prompt to whatever we are doing there. So we have factored that into our planning to get some estates. Kainkesi Yaira is trying to put something up so that at least before the factory starts, at least we have some place to stay, so that maybe over the weekends when we are not doing much, you can come and visit your family and then you go back. The ambience in Suhum is quite good and quite good.
Yeah, and I also think in the following years you're expecting quite some urban sprawl from Accra. So I guess Accra is moving closer to Suhum year by year. That's actually at least my vision of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Very soon, Suhum will choke. I'm telling you, Suhum will choke with industries and people. I tell you, with Fair Africa coming in, it's going to change a lot of mindset, and people are looking up to us, and we'll make it. We'll make it. We'll prove to the world. Yeah.
I've just discovered two questions that I can answer real quick. What are the plans selling chocolate within Africa? At the moment, Fair Africa focuses on Europe especially, also because we don't want to compete with other local brands in Ghana and be next to them in the supermarket. So that doesn't really make sense to us. Then, very good question, Milena. Thank you for this question. How can I support such a great project? I'm sharing a link with you guys in the comment section now. tinyurl.com Kickstarter Fair Freak. We have a really amazing Kickstarter campaign on right now. And if you want to make us happy and be part of chocolate history, then you can check out the nice bundles and perks that we have there, and can be the first ones to actually have the very first chocolates produced in the new factory in your hands this fall. So if you sign up on Kickstarter and support us there, you will be the first ones. That's like the one thing you can do now to support us. And of course, follow us, and yeah, we'll keep you posted on everything else coming up. Another question by Bea. Dear Yaira, so this is one for you. Do you think there's a difference in gender understanding in Ghana compared to Switzerland? What is the role of a woman in the farming family, and how are the kids taken care of now?
So in our organizations, women are actually owning their farms. That is why we have seen that lady in the video who was really talking about her farm and everything. So our gender issues are really that positive one. I must say that the roles are now really different from the roles in Europe when they are universal. Of course, you have some cultural specific issues. We are now really unfolding properly. People are really knowing their rights, I think because of education and also because of these trainings that we give to people. We are not just teaching them how to farm or produce organic cocoa. We also talk about rights of women and rights of children and all this stuff. So things are changing, at least in our small world in Suhum over here.
And I would like everyone, like Yaira, Gabby, and Karen, have a last word. So if there's anything you want to say, maybe about your vision of the future of fair chocolate or anything else that you actually want to address to our customers and the viewers right now, feel free to do so. And I'm saying goodbye and thank you.
Thanks. Well, I would just say that this whole Fair Africa collaboration with Yaira Glover is a good one. It's in a good direction. And I think customers, the buyers or consumers of chocolate must consume chocolate ethically to promote this whole fair trade idea that we are promoting. Fair Africa is promoting. The future is bright for what we're doing. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Yaira. Gabby?
Yes, I will also want to say that with Fair Africa, we have 4 reasons for which we stand, and that is transparency. We are fair. We do delicious chocolate, and we do made in Ghana or made in Africa. And I will urge everyone watching us to buy Fair Africa chocolate, not just because of buying it, but if you buy a bar of chocolate, it goes to impact in people's life, education-wise and health-wise and all that. It goes to improve somebody's life. So it's not just buying the chocolate and just enjoying it, but as you're enjoying it also, it's also tremendously impacting on other people's life in Africa. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Gabby. Karen, you got the last word.
Yes, so I want to say thank you to all our listeners. And the little I want to add is that I want to encourage our younger generation to take an interest in farming, because Fair Africa is fair, and Fair Africa is here to provide a sustainable income for farmers and their families to improve their lives. So let's all get on board, and then we can make Ghana a better place. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your evening. And good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.